Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to Remember 11. Now, I have to apologize. I broke my mouse over the weekend, so now it double clicks randomly. So if I skip a line, I apologize. I tried to remap it. Hopefully it's fine. Fingers crossed. Anyway, I have ordered a new one, but for now, we'll make do. And it's not one of the games where you can press spacebar to continue. Like a Renpai game, you know. Oh, I can't just sit here. Oh, yeah. We better lend Yomogi a hand, I suppose. I'll lend you a hand. Standing up, I yelled down to the basement. In that case, can you take the firewood from above? Waiting at the top of the ladder, I take the firewood Yomogi is lifting up. It's kind of heavy. Don't overdo it. I'm fine. Bringing the firewood out of the basement, Yomogi and I carried it over beside the stove. Thanks, you really helped me out. Sure would be nice if Mayuzumi would follow your example for you, Kawa-san. As though he wanted her to hear it, Yomogi spoke in a loud voice. But there was no response from Mayuzumi, who was curled up in bed. We exchanged glances and then shrugged in unison. Now then, I have to listen to the message from Satoru. Regaining myself, I took out the VR. There were two new data entries. First, I played data 1. It's me, Satoru. I heard from Yuni. It seems you went to the crash site, huh? I'm kind of awkward, so I don't know what to say at times like this. Just one thing. Kokoro, I want you to think about what the meaning is of you being alive right now. You can't get back the lives of those who were lost. There's nothing you can do about the things that have already come to pass. But at least you're still alive. There must be some meaning to the fact that you survived. That's what I think. That's why I want you to just think about what you can do now. This is you we're talking about after all. You're a smart person. You understand what I'm saying, right? Kokoro, try not to lose heart. You're not alone. I'm always right next to you. We may not be able to make a direct contact, but it's like you and I share one body and one heart, so think of me as being right next to you, and be at ease. Bye then. Data 1 ended there. Somehow I'm kind of embarrassed, and more than that, happy. Satoru was worried about me. Knowing that I went to the crash site and was feeling down, he tried to cheer me up. I want you to think about what the meaning of you being alive right now. That's what Satoru said. I survived, and I'm still alive now. That's why as long as I'm still alive, I'll give my all to live. Even if I don't understand the reason why. Continuing, I played Data 2. However, why did he purposefully divide the message into two parts? Once again, my voice flows out. Kokoro, there's something I forgot to mention, so please listen. You probably won't believe me right away, but this is what you think right now, right, Kokoro? That this is the year 2011. But that's not true. In the world you're in right now, it's 1 year later, the year 2012. If you don't believe me, you can ask the people around you. But this is an undeniable fact. I'd like you to accept it as is. That's why about Yuni? Huh? What? What? What about me? Data 2 ended. He heard it. It ended there? I was surprised and shocked at the same time. The world I'm in now is the year 2012? What is he saying? Today is January 13th, 2011. On New Year's Day of this year, I received a New Year's card that read Happy 2011 written on it, along with an illustration of the rabbit of the Chinese zodiac. Why had he made such a simple misunderstanding? If you don't believe me, you can ask the people around you. That's what he told me. If you're going to say something like that, then I will ask. Good. I tried asking while looking over at the three of them. Everyone. All three focus their gazes on me. This is an abrupt question, but what year is it right now? At once, three faces shifted to an expression that seemed to say, huh? Hey, what's up all of a sudden? Have you finally lost the last of your marbles? Yuni blinked in surprise. Don't worry about it, just answer. It's 2011. I looked at Mayuzumi, who was wrapped in a blanket. It's the year 2011, obviously. I looked at Yuni. It's the year 2011. I was satisfied with the answer. This proved that the year was the year 2011. As I thought, Satoru must have misunderstood something. I don't know how the misunderstanding occurred, but that should clear it up. I went to the basement to record my message. The three of them wordlessly stared at me in blank amazement. I took the VR out of my pocket. This is Kokoro. I listened to your message. What did you say was the year 2000? Why did you say it was the year 2012? It's the year 2011. It's not like you to be mistaken. Maybe you should rest for a bit. I asked everyone, and they all said it was the year 2011 too. I repeat, this is the year 2011, there's no mistaking it. I paused the recording, and after thinking for a while, I pressed the record button once again. P.S. Quit taking off my wristwatch, okay? A wristwatch is called a wristwatch because you wear it on your wrist. Having finally told him about the thing that had been bothering me for a long time, I felt a bit satisfied. A smile naturally followed. Returning to the first floor, the three upstairs were eyeing me from a distance. They had huddled together, whispering to each other. Perhaps my behaviour was too suspicious for them to overlook. But thinking to myself that this wouldn't be the first time, I became defiant. Because of my personality exchange with Satoru, those watching me from around us probably think my speech and conduct quite suspicious. Nothing will come of it, even if I try to smooth things over now. In order to conserve my strength, I lay down, pulling a blanket over my head as I did. Time to switch back, I'm guessing. I opened my eyes and all of a sudden it had become dark outside. It seems I slept for longer than I thought. Everyone was staying quiet in their own locations as well. Looks like nothing out of the ordinary happened. It may have been because of my peace of mind, but drowsiness overcame me once again. As I began to doze off. Now it goes? Couldn't have done it while we were asleep? I was at SPHIA. I was in the living area, sprawled out on the sofa. Radio. Yuni was sitting right beside me, got up and returned to his room with light steps. Then, as if trading places with him, Utsumi came out of her room. She walked toward the kitchen. A moment later, I could hear the sound of water running. I turned my head to look, and Utsumi was washing the dishes. Hattori wasn't around. She might be sleeping in her room. Hey, Utsumi-san. Yeah? Utsumi answered without turning her head. What year is it again? Utsumi came to a sudden halt. She slowly turned in my direction. Fuyukawa-san? Huh? Yeah, that's right. Ah, Fuyukawa-san. For some reason her laugh seemed odd. I wonder what's wrong. You see, just now Yukido-kun asked the exact same thing. Satoru did. So then what year is it? 2012. Her reply startled me. Are you sure? Yes. After all, last year was 2011. I began to feel less sure of what I'd thought. I'll try asking someone else. Well, a mind swap is no crazier than a time jump. Going into Hattori's room, I found her in bed. Just before, or in other words, one transfer ago, she'd been acting quite deranged. However, it seems she'd calmed down completely since then. Seeing me, she roused herself. Still in bed, she tilted her head and stared at me. Hey, Hattori-chan, what year is it again? As if puzzled, she inclined her head doubtfully against the pillow, and then she hesitantly made a peace sign. Hattori continued to wait in that position. You mean 2? Nodding. She then made a circle with her thumb and index finger. 0. And finally, raising both hands, she raised only her index finger up on each. 11. 2011? Hattori nodded repeatedly. I was getting more and more confused. Which one of them is right? Thank you. Sleep well, okay? I left the room. Just as I returned to the living area, Yuni also entered. In his hands was a small portable radio. Hey Yuni, what year is it? What? Again? He had an exasperated expression on his face. Again probably means Yuni got asked the same question by Satoru. You're so persistent. Sorry, but would you tell me please? It's 11. You mean 2011? That's right. What's up with you anyway? No, it's nothing. Well, we're going to assume Utsumi's wrong then, because she's the only one who thinks it's 2012. Now it's clear. It's not something that's determined by majority rule, but the answer I got most often was 2011. The only ones who said it was 2012 were Satoru and Utsumi. Everyone else said 2011. So it must be 2011 after all. How weird. Yuni's voice sounded slightly troubled. Wondering what was wrong, I watched as Yuni randomly pressed switches on his portable radio. Putting in the earphones, he tilted his head this way and that. Why can't I hear anything? It seems that the radio's broken. Should we try and fix it? I suppose we should, right? Save. I'll fix it. We're good at this shit, right? Let me see it. I reached for the radio in Yuni's hand. Is it really broken? Taking the radio from Yuni, I prodded it, turning it around to get a better look at it. I pushed various switches, but the radio remained quiet, not letting forth even a single word. In the first place, there's nothing displaying on the LCD screen. It had gone completely silent. Think you could fix it? Yuni looked at me with an anxious expression. Is this really a radio? It's useless. Yuni's shoulders slump in disappointment. You're machine illiterate, huh, Satoru? When he says it so abruptly, it's kind of a shock. All girls are bad with machines, you know. I'll just forget it. Unable to take anymore, I tossed the radio aside. I only meant to throw it lightly aside, but due to its weight, it fell with more force than I thought it would. It made loud noises as it hit the floor. At the moment of impact, a piece flew off the radio. I thought it had broken, but it seems it was only the cover of the battery compartment that had fallen off. Yuni let out a shout of surprise as he picked up the radio. It doesn't have any batteries. Yuni? Sorry. Mitsumi brought us some new batteries, and upon inserting them, the radio immediately came to life. The reception was bad, but voices could definitely be heard through the static. That's about right, but wow. There are only 352 days left in the year, huh? What are you saying, Kobayashi-san? The year 2011 has just begun. 2011? I'm sure the DJ on the radio said 2011 just now. Yuni twisted the turning knob. It's 2011, the year of the rabbit. To commemorate the year of the rabbit, a bunny gill campaign is going on in the Sakai district of Nagoya. Now that you mention it, they're going to abolish the terrestrial analog broadcast, aren't they? At first they said that enacting the plan in 2011 was impossible, but the switch to digital has gone much more smoothly than they imagined. Only 10 years ago, the cost of a digital-ready TV was over $1 million yen. Can you believe it? Yuni continued to fiddle with the tuning knob, skipping from station to station. It seemed he was looking for a program that he liked. To summarize, the solar winds get stronger and weaker throughout the 11-year cycle. And this year, 2011, just so happens to be one of those lucky years. The solar winds affect the various satellites orbiting the Earth and cause a bit of trouble. You understand? No matter what program he switches to, they're talking about the year 2011. No way it can be 2012. There's only boring stuff. Yuni switched off the radio. I sank deep into the sofa. Satoru and Utsumi both have it wrong. But those two don't seem like the kind of people to make that kind of mistake, so why? My sight rests on a large television. What about the TV? Timidly, I tried turning on the power. The first thing I saw was a scenic shot of the mountains. No way! Are they going to show Mount Akakura? I thought as I brought my face closer to the screen. But that was wrong. It was the Jungfrau of Switzerland. I had seen a photo of it before, a cute little train running along a mountain through budding greenery. I changed the channel. This time it's on an ocean scene. A dolphin cuts through water, swimming at incredible speed. The woods. A large tree with a width of over 10 meters is on screen. Sunshine shines from between the trees and the leaves sway in the wind. What is this? Don't they have normal programs? Well, whatever. I give up on the TV, deciding instead to engross myself in thinking. Why did Satoru and Utsumi say the year was 2012? Then for argument's sake, let's say that this is the year 2012. Then the problem with the newspaper would be resolved. Someone visited the shelter cabin holding a July 2011 issue of the newspaper. The newspaper had a printed obituary for the deceased who died in that very cabin though, so it was in rather bad taste. If that someone had left it there, then it would at least be consistent. But that's all. Everything else other than that is contradictory. I went to the crash site with Yomogi. There was a fresh scar on the earth from the accident. In no way did it seem that a full year had passed. This is the year 2011. There's no mistake in it. In the first place, I'd gotten on the plane in the year 2011 with Waikanae as my destination. If this is the year 2012, then where did the blank 1 year period go? Besides, there was only two people that, for whatever dumb reason, said it was the year 2012, just Satoru and Utsumi. Other than them, everyone was saying it was the year 2011, even the radio. They had informed us that it was the year 2011 on public airwaves. If they're wrong, there's probably a huge problem. When I suddenly turned back to reality, Yuni was singing a song. Kagame, Kagame, the bird within the cage. When oh when will you come out? Suddenly remembering something, I smile at Yuni. Hey, thanks for Mr. Bear. When I was feeling down in the shelter cabin, Yuni's kindness when he hugged me with the teddy bear had left a deep impression on my heart. I wanted to thank him just once. However, Yuni just stared at me suspiciously. Huh? What? You know, Mr. Bear, the stuffed animal. Huh? Maybe he doesn't understand because my body is Satoru's right now. I'm Kokoro right now. Get it? You comforted me right at the cabin. Cabin? What are you talking about? Did something like that happen? Certainly. I have a teddy bear right now. But I'll never let Satoru touch TB before. And of course not Kokoro either. I hung my head in frustration at this turn of events. I tightly bit my lip. Again. Again, the things he was saying do not match up. Was my theory that Yuni was transferring along with me wrong after all? If so, why does Yuni exist both here and there? Who is this Yuni? Yet another riddle. My head begins to hurt. I'm confused. I don't want to think anymore. I try putting my hand on my forehead. Feels like I have a slight fever. Without saying anything else to Yuni, I walked to Satoru's room with heavy steps. As I locked the door, I sighed. I looked for a reply from Satoru. I could only rely on him now. I searched the top of the desk. The note from the last time was there, but there wasn't anything new. Thinking that it might have fallen onto the bed or the floor, I tried searching for it, but it was useless. Why didn't he write anything in return? I tried shouting, but there was no way to hear Satoru's voice answer me. I slumped face down on the bed. I pulled a blanket over my head. Enough already. Somebody save me. I'm just a girl. If you throw such an impossible situation at me, there's no way I can bear it, is there? My feelings became so strong that even I couldn't control them. Tears well up in my eyes. What I had once been holding back until now all burst out at once. Why did something like this have to happen? Why? Going back. Before I realized it, the blanket over my head had vanished. On the contrary, everything around me underwent a complete change. I was standing in the dark snowfield. In front of me was the door to the shelter cabin. Cold. My body was frozen through and through. Gusts of biting cold wind tore through me. In that bitter cold, I took leave of my senses. It was more than I could bear, and I made for the shelter cabin, almost falling in the door. Yukido-kun, where were you going? Yomogi, who was in front of the stove, just got up. I was worried when he rushed out all of a sudden. You have another fit? Yuni drew near and felt my coat. Your coat's all wet. Even your shoes are soaked. Are you playing alone in the snow or what? Even I don't really know. That tone, Uyukawa-san? Yeah. You got wet. That's bad. Yomogi forcibly sat me down before the stove. Take off all your wet clothes, but be especially sure to warm your hands and toes up. Confused by the strength of his tone, I nevertheless took off my shoes. Massage them firmly. If you leave them that way, you'll definitely get frostbite. Frostbite? Yeah, at best it'll just be a finger or two. At worst, you'll end up losing both your feet. I took off my wet coat and hung it by the window. The snow on it began to melt, the water dripping to the floor. After holding my feet out toward the fire, I hastily began to massage them. I'll help too. Yuni's small hands rubbed my feet. Thank you. Gradually, I felt the blood return to my frozen feet along with a sensation like an itch. Shall I build up the fire? Yomogi brought over more firewood. I guess I'll save. Make the fire hotter. Please. Yomogi nodded and threw some firewood inside the stove. The heat of the fire increased in intensity to the point where I could feel it against my face. So warm. I sighed in relief. How's that? Thanks, you saved me. I meekly bowed. And from behind me I heard the sound of someone clucking their tongue. When I turned around, I saw Mayuzumi, wrapped in blankets on the top of the top bunk bed, looking at Yomogi with cold eyes. You're awfully nice to her. Yomogi looked up at the ceiling, fed up. Hey, now this isn't the time to say stuff like that. With a little snort, Mayuzumi turns her back to us and lies down. Jealous? Mayuzumi didn't try to talk back, even after Yomogi's joke. There are no more tea bags. Sorry, it's so watered down. Yomogi had made me some chamomile tea. Since he just threw on a tea bag in the cup, it was a bit weak, but there was no substitute for that warmth. Just as I'd gotten comfortable, Yuni asked me a question. Hey, what were you doing anyway? I was worried. Yeah, really, don't go out like that without saying even a word to us. I'm sorry, it wasn't me. Satoru's the one who went out. Yukido-kun. As if he wanted to apologize, Yomogi scratched his head. Then he heaved a sigh as if giving up. Well then, I'll tell him next time I meet him. Please. Somehow it comes out like an apology to him. Because of the personality exchange, I'm a big burden to everyone here in the shelter cabin. Mayuzumi's inactivity is especially remarkable. She's been staying curled up in bed as if exhausted for some time now, but whenever Satoru's name comes up, she glares at whoever said it with a mix of rage and sorrow. I don't know what their relationship is, but I don't think it's wrong to say it's really making her upset. Anyway, I can't do much about it. While I sat beside the stove, Yomogi was trying to get the satellite phone to work. He's clinging to the possibility that it will, completely by chance, connect. No good. Won't go through, huh? Nodding, Yomogi turned the phone off. If only this phone would connect. If I remember correctly, according to the newspaper, the probability of getting through is around 1 million to 1. Even if we kept making a phone call once every second for 24 hours, a good connection would only occur once in about 11.5 days. Really, I guess it's impossible. You could get lucky though. Feeling restored, I moved from stove to bed. What was Satsuru doing outside? I thought he might have left behind a note. I took out the voice recorder and switched it on. There were messages on it. Data 1 and Data 2. First I played back Data 1. This is Satoru. First, the least important point. I intend to listen to your requests as much as possible. Since we're partners, I think mutual trust is important. But however, your demand that I keep your wristwatch on, I just can't accept it. I looked at my right arm. My watch isn't there. It wasn't in my pocket either. Again? Enough. Why? You could just take it off. Having something on my arm just irritates me for some reason. By the way, it's the same with bracelets and the like. What do you mean, by the way? In the first place, I have a problem with the custom of wearing wristwatches itself. Shouldn't a gentleman carry a pocket watch? Well, I don't really like their design and they don't keep time that well, so I reluctantly carry around a wristwatch, but don't you think the spirit of a gentleman is something to be cherished? I don't. And anyway, that theory is weird no matter how you look at it. Satsuru's the type who's unsatisfied if he doesn't rationalize anything and everything. Yeah, he's the kind of person I just don't get along with. Even if we're to be sued by the Wristwatch Society, these feelings will never change. In conclusion, request to keep wristwatch on denied. Data 1 ended there. Why has he been such a baby about it? Before playing Data 2, I decided to look for my watch. It's not in my pocket. It's not on the bunk bed ladder. It's not on the bed either, and not on the table either. It wasn't around the neck of the teddy bear either. Damn it, where did you put it? It's my favorite watch, so if you lost it, I'll make you regret it. I'll make you regret it for the rest of your life. As I nervously paced nervously around the cabin like that. What's the matter? Yomogi asked, completely puzzled. It's gone. Gone. There isn't... It's gone, gone, gone. It's not here, or there, or even over in that other place. Ah, stupid Satoru, you lost it. How will you take responsibility? Uyukawa-san? This thing you lost, is it your watch? Huh? Yomogi-san, you know where it is? Yeah. Where is it? I came right up to Yomogi. I grabbed him by the collar and shook him. Calm down, please calm down. I can't talk while you're doing that. Panicking, I let go of Yomogi's neck. I'm sorry. Okay, we're being crazy about the watch as well. Satoru's being a baby and we're being insane. No, it's okay. So, where's my watch now? Maybe... While talking, Yomogi reached a hand into his pocket. Is this it? My watch! What he took out was none other than my beloved wristwatch. But why do you have it, Yomogi-san? I asked as I took the watch. I know you'd expect me to, but I don't actually know. At any rate, you were Yukido-kun at the time. Yukido-kun asked me to hold on to it. Like, even I don't know. He just came up to me and said, I entrust this to you, so don't ask any questions. Wouldn't it be faster to just ask him? No, it's fine, I get the idea. Is that so? That's okay then. As I put the watch back on, I went over to the bed. It's like Satoru wants to make sure I don't have the watch on. Like he's stubbornly trying to get rid of it. The hiding places are gradually getting more and more elaborate. That's why he handed it over to Yomogi. He thought I wouldn't find it. Damn it, if it's going to be that way, I'll get stubborn too. He could have just thrown it in the fireplace. Just as stubbornly, I keep putting it back on. Whenever you hide it, I'm going to find it. Having forged this decision, I sat on my bed. Now then. We can be children too. I retrieved the voice recorder, and then I played Data 2. What kind of message will be next? Let's get to the main point. Continuing from last time. About the question, what year is it? You remember what I said in the previous message, right? The world you're in right now is 1 year later, the year 2012. So he said. But that was Satoru's misunderstanding. However, that wasn't the most accurate way to put it. That time, I'd lost my head. I forgot. The place where Kokoro can listen to the voice recorder is restricted to just this shelter cabin. I didn't realize that simple truth. I don't understand. What is Satoru trying to say? That time, by the world where Kokoro is, I didn't mean the shelter cabin. It's the world where Kokoro is from the viewpoint of me, who is here now. Meaning, in short, SPHIA. Do you get it? What do you mean? I listened carefully to the recorder. Without beating around the bush, it's like this. In the world of SPHIA, it's 2012. In the world of the shelter cabin, it's 2011. Our consciousnesses are jumping not only through space, but also through time. What we're trapped in isn't a mere personality exchange phenomenon. Along with the personality exchange, there's also a time jump, an extremely unique transfer phenomenon. What does this mean? It's not just a personality exchange, but also a time jump? The personality exchange on its own is hard enough to believe, though I've already realized I have no choice but to believe it. Not only that, but a time slip is taking place? Come on. Really, come on now. I say this, but I guess you probably won't believe me. How should I explain it? At any rate, this is the truth. It's 2012 in SPHIA and 2011 in the shelter cabin. Kokoro and I keep shifting back and forth between two different bodies, places, and times. How can you say this with such certainty, I try to say. Just now, you must be thinking, how can you say this with such certainty? The answer is simple. Because I live in the year 2012. That is to say, to you, I'm a person from the future. That's why I even know about the shelter cabin being in 2011. The crash of Flight 18 for me happened last year. You still can't believe it. Can't be helped. Well then, I'll tell you about Uni. In the message at SPHIA yesterday, you wrote this, right? Because if that isn't so, I can't explain how Uni could exist as two people at the same time. At the same time, that's what you wrote. But you know, they aren't really the same. Didn't I make... I can't remember exactly what my predictions were, but I guessed that. I'm pretty sure I guessed that they were different. They were the same Uni in different times. I would go and look for it, but I'm too lazy. Just tell me in the comments how right I am. One Uni is the Uni of the year 2011, and the other is the Uni of the year 2012. Even if the very same person exists at different points on the time axis, it's not particularly mysterious, don't you think? Or rather, isn't it natural? Both in the future and in the past, Uni being there is normal. I see. I suddenly started believing what Satoru had told me, because if it's true, then lots of things start to make sense. Uni, what Utsumi said. Wait, but... Satoru's message continues. I laid aside my thoughts for the time being and carefully listened to his words. But you know, from now on it won't be so straightforward. Then he paused for a while. He didn't resume speaking. Did something happen? Sorry, Kokoro. The voice I heard at last was, for some reason, a rather subdued one. What's wrong, Satoru? How should I put it? No, I'll tell you later. For now, that's it. Wait a second. You're still in the middle of your explanation. Don't just stop at a random place like that. I complained to the voice recorder. Of course, I know it's meaningless. Wait. I was about to forget something important. Something important? Okay, Kokoro? At SPHIA, from now on, don't eat any of the food. Huh? This is not a request. This isn't the best way to say it, but it's an order. I'll explain the details next time. Anyhow, if you take a single bite of anything, then consider your life over. I'm counting on you. But we've already eaten food there. And there the message ended. I turned off the recorder. I leaned against the wall. We're coming and going, back and forth between the years 2011 and 2012. That was the blind spot. The double existence of Uni was a big mystery. They weren't twins, and furthermore, they had the same memory. I couldn't imagine anything but that we were transferring at the same time. If you consider a time slip, the problem is settled. After all, the two Unis were retrospectively the Uni of the past and the Uni of the future. I admire that smart solution. Mount Akakura is in 2011, SPHIA is 2012. According to Satoru, I, thinking of this year as 2011, am in the shelter cabin, and Satoru, who insists it's 2012, is in SPHIA. I nodded in agreement, but something wasn't right. This is the same unease I felt earlier. What, isn't there something wrong with it? As I thought this, it hit me. The newspaper. The date on the newspaper was July 4th, 2011. If the time at the shelter cabin is 2012, there'd be no contradiction in that newspaper being there. However, if we said the date the shelter cabin is January 13th, 2011, it's strange. A newspaper from the future lying around here. Maybe Satoru brought it? And moreover, the radio. The radio I heard at SPHIA said the year was 2011. Why? No way, the shelter cabin is in 2012 and SPHIA is in 2011. If I believe that, it solves the problems of the newspaper and the radio. But if that's the case, it brings other contradictions. Outside the shelter cabin is the fresh crash site. In 2012, the crash site could also exist. To avoid that contradiction? What if the airplane we boarded somehow jumped to 2012 during the flight and then crashed on Mount Akakura? Then, if I, in the shelter cabin of 2012, and Satoru in SPHIA of 2011 began the personality exchange, with this reasoning the contradictions of the radio I heard in SPHIA reporting it was 2011, and there being a fresh crash site in Mount Akakura in 2012 are resolved. But then the explanation of the newspaper doesn't fit. If the plane crashed on Mount Akakura in 2012, the article dated July 4th, 2011 couldn't possibly have been published. Besides, the explanation works if I'm thinking it's 2011, but doesn't work if Satoru is thinking it's 2012. This isn't right either. As I thought about another possibility, I suddenly realized it. If by some chance my transfers, the situation at the shelter cabin and SPHIA all take place in the year 2011, and Satoru's transfers take place in the year 2012, if that's so, it accounts for how I feel that this is 2011 but Satoru thinks it's 2012. But like this, it's no good, absolutely no good. If I don't exchange personalities with the Satoru of 2012, we wouldn't get in a dispute over the problem of what year this is. Besides, if it turns out I'm going back and forth in 2011, the contradiction of the two unis comes up again. I brooded over it. I thought there being a gap between the dates was a good idea, but in practice it doesn't seem so simple. Feels like solving a puzzle. I'm hopeless at puzzles. Even a small one is agony and makes me want to give up. Even for university research, I like keeping careful observations, but when the time comes to write a paper on it and lay out the reasoning, I end up writhing in agony. When I read detective novels, I leave everything to the tale's investigator and don't reason or anything. But now, there is no detective that'll solve the puzzle for me. This is happening to me right now. If I don't work hard and think, come to think of it, I recalled Satoru's last words. At SPHIA, from now on, don't eat any of the food. Anyhow, if you take a single bite of anything, then consider your life over. My life? That, in other words, means that there's a possibility I'll be served poison? I inputted that in the corner of my memory. Still leaning against the wall, my thoughts kept going around in circles. Alright, we're time jumping, or space jumping, or space and time jumping, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But we're out of time for this episode, so we're going to leave this one here and do our reasoning, I suppose, in the next one. And see what happens. Thanks for watching, Bruce, and I'll see you then.